I'm Anthea Bosman, and my partner is Emery Botha, but we're going to introduce ourselves later further on and you'll know us. Why did I come to PFP? In fact, I was introduced very randomly to PFP. I didn't even know the organization existed. And I thought, okay, this is an opportunity to assist me because I need a hall, I need teachers, I need computer labs, I need money, I need competent teachers, I need leadership, I need my sports field to be remediated, I need everything. And if I have that, then everything will be fine. And then I was introduced to this partnership and I thought, is it really what I need? I don't need this because they can't give. And after that I thought, okay, Partners for Possibilities like the NG Kerk, NG. And all those problems will always be there. We will always need something, but it's the leader that must decide the trajectory. And when Jessica and Emery came to me, I joined the party, not because I needed something. I was in emotional turmoil. I doubted myself as a leader. I needed mentoring. And it was about personal mastery, because if the leader is not healthy, then your school will go nowhere. And that is where my journey started with PFP. Right. My staff, ek is nou nie so goed met hierdie goedjies. Jessica, kan jy net kom vir help? We have a staff. The school started in 1988. It was a very good school. When I joined the school in 2014, the school was absolutely dysfunctional. Lots of vacancies, high problems, and that is currently our staff. We are 34 teachers, and that's the admin staff, and we are the backbone of our school. And what Partners did in that time, if I don't value the human resources of that school, nothing will materialize. And that is where Emery came in. And I want to hand over, how did you find us at that time, when you got to us?
So Anthea and I got together, and I'm sure it was love at first sight. But it was also clear that Anthea was not in a good space. So I also wasn't sure about what the expectations were about Partners for Possibility, and I wasn't sure what I would be expected to bring to the partnership. And after I've met with Anthea first, with Jessica, I must first confess, I didn't want Anthea because she wasn't in Paul. I wanted a school in Paul. And then I was given a school in Eerste River, which isn't close to Paul. So after Jessica and Anthea and myself met the first time, and then Anthea and I met the second time, I realized this woman really needs a lot of support. And that there's a lot of dysfunctionality around her, and that she's part of a system that's dysfunctional, but Anthea herself was operating in a dysfunctional manner. So right up front, I said to Anthea, I'm not here to do anything apart from being a support for you. I'm going to work with you on you.
Now this is who I am. That is the picture in my foyer. That's Emery. And can you get the next slide? Emery, because our relationship was so very intimate and personal, we shared a lot with each other, how to deal with one another and zoom in on each other's personalities to get to a point where I am today. Now that's Emery and that's me, and I was so happy to see that I'm back at Bagsburg. I actually grew up just a kilometer away from this space, and this was my playground, so I'm in charge today. Years back, my mother was a teacher here at the Simonsvlei Primary School, my father at Simondium Primary, and Mr. Michael back with their friends. And on a Thursday evening, we would come and go buy eggs. And we paid cheaper because they gave us the cracked eggs and the not so clean ones. And he was an Italian also, and he was selling the most beautiful pork sausages. So I was playing here. So it's very emotional for me to stand here today and say that this is where I grew up, and I came back just to make sure that I found myself within my working space. I'm passionate about the arts. All those work you see there, those paintings are my learners' work. And this is how we dealt at Forest Heights with our problems of absenteeism, low morale, learner problems. We have problems with drugs. We have problems with all kinds of things. And that is how we address as a staff our learners now. We have an extended sports program running now. Our learners play golf. We have soccer teams, we have rugby teams, we have cross-country teams. And the arts and the sports are our avenue where we walk now to get to a point where our school is 60% functional now. And that is due to Emery's input.
So I joined Partners for Possibility because I did my coaching course from 2014 to 15. And towards the end of the course, you have to define your coaching purpose. And my coaching purpose is to coach people who have the potential to make a difference to a large number of other people. So people with a big influence sphere. And I found Anthea, and I immediately realized that through this journey together, we can make a change. And the evidence of that change is that I didn't contribute to this presentation at all. Anthea did it. Anthea did absolutely everything by herself. Whereas when we started off, Anthea wasn't able to do anything on her own in terms of contributing to the partnership in a bigger audience, because she was in such a low place. So I'm very, so you can see the result of the partnership here.
Yeah, when I attended the Art of Community Building, let me start, from August 2016 till the end of the year, it was just working on me. I think Emery was a psychologist, she was a psychiatrist, she was my spiritual leader, my guru. I didn't have to go to India or to Tibet to find her. She came to me. And by the end of December, I thought, okay, I've come around. And now I can see clearly. And January, I was more interactive with all the reading material and everything. And the first impact was, in September 2016, I fell and hurt my ankle. And I met, went to my physio and she asked, what do you need at school? I said, I always need money. I always will need money, but can you help us to heal the school? And she said, yes. The next week I went for my follow-up and she said, don't you like a paint project at your school? I said, yes, I have a graffiti problem. The kids like to write on the walls, and I've learned later, but they're not naughty, they want to express themselves. That's why they have tattoos and all that stuff. And then we said, okay, the grade 7s can do it. And we called the community together at a community meeting with the SGB. And that was the building at first. After my husband and I came one Sunday with a psychologist, with a physiotherapist and her sister is a dentist, and we whited the building on the Sunday morning. And the next week, the parents, teachers, and lots of professionals, that lady spread her wings. And that is what we came up with, building next door. We have now a room of love, a classroom of courage, and a classroom of hope. And there's not one single name written on that walls since March 2017 up till now. And the kids take pride in what they were doing. So that is part of our community building. And we thought, we can't change our behavior at school or change the child or modify the behavior if the behavior does not modify in the community. And we pitched on the community. And we spread our wings. The next one for me. We decided we're going to invade and we're going to squat on the park, the municipal park. We had a picnic in park with our prefects. We're gonna push out all the drug addicts and everybody. We invited the police, the neighborhood watch, City of Cape Town, the mayor was there. The prefect said, ma'am, we're going to take this project. We had novelties and like in Boeresport in the park for around about 4 hours. Our kids played. Our parents had a picnic. And nobody came that Saturday. They came with the little backpacks and they just went around and leave again. Our park is clean. Our learners can walk safely over the park to go home. Then, seeing that we have a drug problem with our learners, and that's so sad, our learners are taken up into and groomed into gangs. I have lots of learners who are actively smoking taga. And we hooked up with the Modita Foundation, and they said, if we pay R5, and then they can make a mural at school. I said, why don't you do a wall rather than the kids can do it there? So they can walk by and say, I pledge against drugs. And this is what our kids came up with. We could donate, our poor school could donate 1,035 rand to the foundation for their work in the community. Because we are so community driven at this point, our parents came on board. One parent said, ma'am, direct access want to come into your school. And they said they can donate 10,000 rand. What do you want? I said, listen, I want something that's not consumable. We need a structure for transport for the learners who wait for transport in the afternoon so that they don't play outside. This is what we came up with. So our learners are safely in school, waiting for their transport, shelter during the hot summers and winters. So this community involvement made parents aware that something is happening at that school, and we're actually rebranding our school. We're telling our community we are a school. One of our parents came also along. She said, I'm a seamstress. She's at this point in time, she is teaching sewing classes to the soul buddies. And that's what they come with. They make these little comfort dolls. If you're unhappy, you talk to your doll. And they would sit there and they make pin cushions, little grade 3s and the soul buddies. One of my teachers went to Saudi Arabia a month ago. And they said, ma'am, if you miss South Africa, talk to your comfort doll. And you can see some of them I exhibited there. And those are the learners, the troubled learners' art. One of my learners, I just got hold of the news 2 days ago that one of the learners' work is now at the provincial level, on the district level. It might go to the Ezekiel Museum for to be exhibited there. So that is how we deal with it. And at this point in time, nobody said we need money. But our staff is now working closely to a situation where we feel it's our problem, we need to take charge of it. And that's where Emery was so extremely important for us. So what did I learn? And then I would give over to what did I learn during the press? I must unlearn. I must not learn more. I must unlearn all the bad habits invested in me all these years. I must reshape myself. I must reposition myself. Be assertive. Because I was quite strong but very afraid to be confronted. I must be very organic. It must be genuine. It must be pure. No artificial stuff. Authentic, and be honest to your staff. And thanks to Emery, I can say that is what she taught me. Be honest to people. Say you are unhappy. Say you can't do it. Say you don't have enough to do it. And that is where I, as a leader, can say now, I can stand tall in my school. The reading material was absolutely stunning. My husband and I, there was one book we used to, please give it, The Time to Think. He would read it and I would read it. Time to Think was brilliant. And Emery, I think she's becoming a guru on the Time to Think principles. Because she started, after she's done with me and broken me down to grow, she went to my SMT and then you can take over. She did brilliant work, I can say that.
Thanks, Anthea. I do pay her to say all these things. So in the first 6 months, I realized that I couldn't spend time with the teachers or with the governing body or with anybody else at the school because I felt that Anthea was too unsafe. She felt not safe in her school environment. So as she says, we only worked on a personal level. And then when she was, it was clear that she was stronger. And we started working with the senior teachers, and there was a lot of resistance initially. And by the grace of God, the first session went well. There was one person that walked out immediately, and she didn't come back, and that was okay. And then in the third session that we had, where all the teachers were there, in the session, a person started attacking Anthea. And I knew Anthea was ready to handle this. So I said to the person, I want you to turn to Anthea and I want you to talk to her. I don't want you to talk to the audience. Talk to her. And Anthea stood her ground and she didn't say one thing, she just listened. And I think that was a major breakthrough in terms of trust in the school, that teachers felt that we can talk honestly. And people were in tears. People who didn't want to be there at the beginning of the session, at the end of the session, were in tears. So I can just really praise God for His intervention also in those human interactions.
So the book that really put me right at the center of leadership in school was The Art of Possibilities, and that is with the one with the conductor. And that is where I realized that I need to know my musicians, and that's my teachers, to make this orchestra go at school. And at this point in time, everybody is playing the same score, not at the same time, not in the same key, but we are on the same score. And that is where I think Forest Heights is taking now. We are on the runway and we are at the right place now. The COP sessions was very nice. I used to look forward to it just to meet my colleagues, just to share best practices, just to know they're also struggling. I'm not the only one. And the sessions with my partner, I want to thank Emery, it was very personal. I would come home and then I would be tired. Sometimes, and we used to fight a lot. It was never plain sailing with us, but at the end of the day I would go back, I could hear a voice. Are you doing it because it's the right thing, or is it because it's vengeance? That sentence really put me right in the center of my leadership. Are we doing things because it's the right thing to do, because you are vengeful? And today I can say my school is at a point where I feel I am the principal due to Partners for Possibilities. My governing body attends leadership forum programs with me. They met with Mr. Schroeder. My SMT, they also go, and everybody comes back with new life. And that is what we do at Forest Heights at this stage. And it was a privilege for me to go to all this stuff, and I go to all of them, although I'm so tired. Sometimes my husband gets cross because there was a frozen pie on the counter, and he can listen, and I don't have time because I know I'm coming at 7:30. I'm only coming from Cape Town, but I met the SG. I had close relationship with his top brass, and that was for me was the height of my career, that I could meet the SG of Education, talk to him and say what is my problem. But I don't leave my problem with him. I go back to my problem and I deal with it. And therefore I want to thank Partners for Possibilities, for Jessica and Emery, for what they've done to my school, because I think we're now on the road of success.
Partnership where we were going to get divorced, and Jessica was our counselor, and she handled it very well. And I think that low point in our partnership became the foundation for the strongness. So thanks, Jessica. In our lives, you were really personally involved. And then the second thing is our partnership is not at an end. We will continue the work. We will continue to do sessions because there's still lots to be done. Yeah, thank you.